Namaste, friends. Figured that I would show you friend's home where I'm staying. And as I said, young son Arjun is going to basketball camp now. As I said, I don't have so often that I'm in middle income homes, though I have friends in all different income levels. I just am often in rural or lower income. But these friends are one in a very nice city named Mysore. And so I figured I would show you just a little bit about how life in India is yet another way. This is where I'm staying. This is Arjun's room, but I have my things in here for a few days. Another room. Pretty much normal, like a normal flat that we would think of in US. Bathroom, pretty similar. Hot water, bucket. I was talking with them, and so I was a little bit off as far as the bucket is used for washing clothes, but also they said that people often, even if you have a shower, people like to just squat and use the bucket and wash like that. And so that's also one of the reasons why there would be the little stool. Something I didn't touch on, but these sprayers are ubiquitous in very many homes in India, and as you see, or places, no toilet paper here, just the sprayers. And these days now, it's like I don't understand why we don't have those in the US and well, mainly the US, because there are in Europe in a different way. I love them. I've been in India for 7.5 months, and probably used toilet paper a total 5 times total out of however many, thousands of times I used the toilet. It's just so easy. And that's another thing, another disconnection with nature is this fear and aversion that I've had to Namaste, to not here, Baba. They are not here. It's you. This fear and aversion to feces and urine, as if this is some really terrible, scary thing. And it took me until it was actually the last time I was in India, so 36, 37, before I began kind of changing that, being more comfortable with this feces and urine, which are part of me. Like, they both come from inside me. I had no aversion to them when they were inside. I wasn't like so grossed out that they're in my intestines and my bowels and my colon or in my bladder. But as soon as they get out, it's like this, oh, gross, I can't touch that. I don't even want to look at it. Can't smell it. Oh, that's so bad. And urine is like, it's very strange. But here in India, historically, there are things. They use cow urine as a medicine in certain ways for the skin or things like that, and also your own human urine. And some friends had told me about like using your own urine. You can use it for helping the hair or skin issues. It can also be drunk, and I've drunk my urine, I don't know, more times than I can count. First, after I did some research on it, and I'll share some links, there's a TED Talk about using your own urine. This stuff has been known for a long, long time. So first I was just experimenting because it can have really strong benefits in all different ways. But also, even if it didn't do anything for me as a medicine or whatnot, being able to have that experience with my own urine, it stretched my box of consciousness. It just brought me closer to myself. This one less thing that I have some sort of aversion or some sort of grossness to about myself, because I don't want to have that with myself at all. I don't want to think that any part of me is gross and kind of like a void or something like that. And so just doing that and finding out, wow, not only is it not gross, but actually has benefits. And if I were stranded somewhere with no water, I would be able to survive for a lot longer now because I can just drink my own urine. And it's been done. There's nothing weird about it. There are certain ways to do it, and if you have a really toxified body, then it's not beneficial. But I can just share some resources. So similar with the toilet, and so many countries, as I was saying, you're squatting. Well, also they're not using toilet paper. You put some water. It's why the right hand is used for shaking and for eating in these countries. You're eating with your right hand. Left hand in some cultures is considered very disrespectful to touch, like shake someone else's hand with the left hand or something. It's because historically it's been used to wipe the bottom after having a bowel movement. And initially when I got here, I was like, I don't really know about that. I was trying to figure out how to use the water but not have my hand touch it. And finally I just let go of that, and it's like, what's the big deal? It's feces. Like, if I didn't have feces, I wouldn't be alive, because feces is the food that has given me the energy to continue. And if it just stayed in my body, at some point I would become so full of it, so toxified, I would die. So why do I need to feel this aversion to something that is just digested food? There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing gross about it. It's food that provided me energy to live, that has now been digested. And the beauty of nature, it goes back into ground. It provides all of those nutrients and things, and then subsequently new things grow from it. So it's changed it a lot for me. And now I much prefer those sorts of sprayers than toilet paper. They work much better in my experience. They clean much better. And yeah, they're easier, more, whatever. So this is a kitchen. This is very classic in India. This is a nicer one, and it goes into the wall for gas. Often in many homes, there would be like a large red gas cylinder that whenever would be refilled. And depending where you are, especially in the mountains, you see men with a band on their head and one or two of these big gas jugs. I don't know how heavy they are, but they're heavy, going up the mountain or even through the streets in Delhi, or donkeys on the mountain or on the side of scooters and things. This one is built in. And then in lower income homes and places might just be one of these. And I mean, it's amazing to be in Indian kitchens in rural or low income or anything, and to see what they can create with something which wouldn't even really be considered a stove in the United States, and just some pans and some spices and some little cheap stainless steel knife, and they can make these rich, incredible flavors. Really awesome. This is the laundry room. Dig this. I don't know if this is, I imagine this is in apartments in other parts of the world as well. I've never really seen it before. But just pop this down and it comes down, put the clothes on, and then put it back up and it's out of the way. I was like, okay, diggity diggity. Now, as you can probably see, there is something very clearly not here. And that would be, where is the fridge? They have chosen to not use a fridge. We've got the veggies here. And they chose specifically, one, because they want to assist with global warming and emissions and things like that. And so they feel that it's not necessary for them. And also because in these places still, the previous generation, fridges were very uncommon or basically never heard of. And so speaking with the wife here, my friend, she was saying, this is clay, is what used to be used for all kinds of things. Big jugs that you'd have the water in, but also can put like the curd or the milk in, put a cloth on it, wet the cloth, and they can keep it cool for multiple days at a time. And so they don't use, or they put big ones in. They're talking about they're going to make one that's like as big as this, made of clay and then use that to store the vegetables and things, and those last for a handful more days. And that means that I know, I definitely know people in the US who are one-person households, and the fridge is full. Freezer is full. Big freezer is full. So much food. We're used to such big sizes and buying in bulk and buying things that we're so used to being disconnected from what fresh food tastes like and how our bodies feel with it, that we're used to having, you know, meat and things in the fridge or the freezer for weeks or months. And it's, if we think about that, that is really just doesn't seem natural to be that separated from what is fresh. Like, where is nature ever doing that? Whether or not it's an animal that's eating meats or it's eating vegetables, when are they ever separated by weeks or months? That just doesn't seem healthy. That's just not as common here. It's much more common to go to the market and to get some fruits or vegetables, often for the day or for a couple days, and eat those. Make up a nice fresh dish. Just get really used to fresh food here. These clay, they're not nearly as used as much as they were, but I really dig them. So these are actually from restaurant that we were just at, and these would just be tossed out. These are single-use clay things. You can go down on the street. Nowadays, a lot more of the time, the tea sellers, you get tea in something like this size, chai, but they're going to be using plastic, which is unfortunately really not nice for the environment and not nice for a human being to have hot beverage in a thin plastic petroleum product. But still, you can find places where they just have little single-use clay chai cups. But I really like it. There's actually shown lots of benefit to having beverages and foods in these natural products, because there are different vitamins and minerals in clay that, one, historically we would have been getting from drinking local water, because local water is going to have the local vitamins and minerals that's coming from the ground. But these days we're drinking something that's been purified so much that all of that stuff has been taken out. It's coming from some different area that's not even in our local environment that our body is used to. And it's been stored in plastic, which is, of course, made out of petroleum and breaks down slowly over time. But drinking from clay, eating from clay, just one of those innumerable small little things that can provide little benefit or a little bit of harm. So if we look here, and they just put the TV here, I don't think it's even plugged in. I don't know that they really ever use it. But we look here, it seems like there's something else that's missing from a common home, at least in the US and wherever I've been in Europe, and that would be a dining room table. Because all of the times that I have been with them so far, in these days where I'm staying, we eat on the floor. And now they're thinking to get a table for when the elderly people come, but really, like, it's so nice for me and for many people, though it's not so common in India as much in the middle income and above, to be eating on the floor. But it's just another thing that for me feels very natural, enjoyable. We're sitting on the floor, we're eating with our hands, we're close all around each other. Something that I dig. This is very common to see in India, in Indian homes. They call a small temple. And so there are different, yesterday was mango, the day before was bananas. Now these are some pulses being offered. This is candles, lamps that would be running. Sometimes they use ghee, which is from butter, or sometimes they use different types of oil, sesame oil or mustard oil or things. And then these are different manifestations of the divine. And as I was saying before, and I confirmed with them, there are all different kinds of beliefs, And so some people, depending upon their depth of practice or just their belief, they may actually identify, okay, this is Ganesha, he really is an elephant god. But from their understanding and their practice and others that they know, it's more considered, these are many different, God is innumerable, as we were saying, like God is everywhere, whether it's the divine or the universe or the universal power or the quantum field or love or existence. It's everywhere. It's in, if God, from the Christian perspective, is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, everywhere, all-knowing, and that means God is right here as well as everything. God has many different manifestations or incarnations or faces or anything like that. And so different people, based on their upbringing and who they are and their genetics and who knows what all, they have different ways that they identify closer with God. And so these different manifestations or these different images represent different parts. Sometimes God is a creator. Obviously, we see all of this was created by something outside of man, whatever that is, whatever that divine power is. And so they have a name for that God that is a creator. Sometimes God is the perpetuator. It exists. Right now I'm continuing on. I was created and now I'm continuing on. So they have a name and images for that type of God, or that part of God. Sometimes God is a destroyer. At some point I will die. This building will fall down. This tree will die. And so they have images and ways of showing that type of God and giving respect and appreciation to all of those. So it's quite different from what I had previously thought of. Oh wow, look at all these different gods. They're so, strange, whatnot. I think that is about it. Earlier there was a really interesting gray, almost like a toucan, but toucans are not in this area, but a really interesting bird here. And then we hear, actually those are more of those little chipmunk squirrels and then birds. Peace out. Talk to you later.